we just exchange hi and hello. અને મને સ્ટ્રાઇક થયું કે વિપુલ ભાઈ ને we must be inviting. અને પછી suddenly this, like program, entrepreneurship one-on-one, me and forum and other, like executive committee members, we discussed, and that's the result of this, beautiful, very knowledgeable, symposium or panel discussion. So that's the context of it. પણ entrepreneurship ની વાત કરીએ ને તો there's one guy who, like visited God, and then like God asked, like I could see from your records that you have lied a couple of times to tax authorities. So the gentleman said, yes, God, I'm very sorry for that. And there are some issues with on the domestic front as well. So the gentleman said, yes, I am sorry for that also. And then God asked, what was your profession throughout your life? Yes. So then God said, like everything is, like forgiven, you please go to heaven. So that's the importance of being an entrepreneur we have. If I just have to, like narrate what is the importance of not only in the society, but, like with the, like in the God's home also. So that's the, like power of entrepreneur. અને thank you forum. So I and રાજકોટ એવું જગ્યા છે કે અહીંયાનું પાણી પી લે ને એટલે એન્ટરપ્રેન્યોરશિપ છે ને એની મેળે છે ને એ ઇમ્પ્રુવ થવા માંડે. અમારા સેક્રેટરી છે પરેશભાઈ, તો ઘણી વખત તમને કહેતો કે પરેશભાઈ આપણે મીટિંગની ને એ બધી પણ વાત કરવાની છે. એ મને ફોન કરે ત્યારે પ્રોગ્રામ્સ કેટલા કરવા છે ને ઇન્કમ કેવી રીતે કરવી છે અને લાઈક ક્યાં સેવિંગ કરવું છે, બેલેન્સ શીટ કેવી ઇમ્પ્રુવ કરવી છે, એ બધી વાત અમારા સેક્રેટરી પણ કરે. એટલે અહીંયા છે ને બધા એન્ટરપ્રેન્યોર છે એ લાઈક તરત જ પાણી પીધા પછી રાજકોટનું તો ખાસ એ આવી જાય બ્લડમાં. તો એવું આપણું આ સિટી છે ને એમાંથી જ આપણને લાઈક આજે જે ત્રણ રિપલભાઈ, વિપુલભાઈ અને શીતલભાઈ અને ઇવન ધ પેનલ ધ મોડરેટર, તો આજનો લાઈક આ પ્રોગ્રામ આપણને ખૂબ જ મજા આવવાની છે બધાને. તો આઈ વુડ રિક્વેસ્ટ ઓલ ટુ લાઈક બી રેડી વિથ ધેર ક્વેશ્ચન ઇવન, અને રિક્વેસ્ટ forum to take it over. Forum, yeah, yes. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Parag bhai. I'll just brief on the pattern of this symposium. What we'll do is we'll have 10 to 12 minutes of monologue from each speakers, and then prior to that everyone would be introduced by one of their friends, and then we'll have a heated up conversations like one-on-one, taking up the questions and a great panel discussion for near about 45 minutes, and then we'll wind up with key takeaways. So that's the format, and our first speaker is our very own Executive Council member Vipul bhai, and I would request Raju bhai to please unmute his mic and introduce his friend, dear friend.
Good evening to all. Namaskar.
Sorry. Yes.
Hello. Is okay now?
Yes, it is okay. Okay.
Yeah. Good evening and namaskar. અત્યારે આટલા બધા પાર્ટિસિપન્ટ્સ સાથે જોઈન થયા છે 86 પ્લસ. આઈ એમ રિયલી હેપી કે સાંજના ટાઈમે ફરવાના ટાઈમે જે અત્યારે આપણે સ્કાયનો સિનેરીઓ હોય છે એના ફોટા જોતા હોય એની જગ્યાએ આપણે અત્યારે આરએમએનો આ ઇવેન્ટ એટેન્ડ કરીએ છીએ. આઈ એમ રિયલી હેપી. સાથે રિપલભાઈનું ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન કરવાનું જે મોકો મળ્યો એના માટે ઓલ્સો આઈ એમ ફીલ હોનર્ડ ફોર ધ સેમ. રિપલભાઈ માટે બીજું કંઈ લાંબુ બોલવા કરતા રિપલનો જે મિનિંગ છે કે આ સ્મોલ વેવ or a series of waves on surface of water. એટલે રિપલભાઈનું જે સ્માઇલ હોય that is only enough. And again, second meaning of ripple, કે a type of ice cream with color flavored, એટલે રિપલભાઈ જે છે એનું સ્માઇલ છે, જે કલર ફ્લેવર્ડ સિરપ છે, અને રિપલભાઈની જે બહુ લાંબી ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન છે, એ એમડી તરીકે વર્ક કરે છે, ફિયોટેક્સ, કોટસ્પિન, એવરેસ્ટ ફર્ટિલાઇઝરમાં એમડી એન્ડ ચેરમેન છે, પ્લસ જે સોશિયલ અને કોર્પોરેટ CSR ની રીતે જે વર્ક આપે છે ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીને, સોસાયટીને, પાછું ઇટ ઇઝ જે રિપલભાઈની નજીક આવ્યા હોય એ જ ફીલ કરે. અને આઈ રિક્વેસ્ટ એવરીબડી ટુ ટેક અ benefit and taste the flavor syrup of Ripplebhai. Over to Ripplebhai.
Thank you, Raj, for calm and warm words. Ice cream ne flavored ne honored and
really, it is from heart. કે તમારી સ્માઇલ અને જે ટેસ્ટ અને જે તમે નજીકમાં હોય, it makes vibrations and waves.
Thank you, thank you. So today's topic is Entrepreneur 101. I'll give you my short and brief introduction. Actually, I am Ripple Patel. As Rajubai said, I'm MD, Fiotex, Cotspin, and Everest Fertilizers and Chemicals Private Limited. I passed my civil engineering in 95 and joined the business. બહુ નાના પાયે શરૂઆત કરી, and today I'm happy that whatever I dreamt for, and I have, I won't say I have achieved a lot, but yes, so far so good. Coming back to the topic of Entrepreneur 101, I think I was asking forum that what exactly the Entrepreneur 101 is, and she said it about MIT group of students or group of people who have started the initiative, how to be an entrepreneur in the modern world. So yes, it is a very scientific approach, but I think I am not the right person to give on the scientific approach. I will go by my intuitive and my experience sharing journeys. So I'll start like what is entrepreneurship? In a layman's language, if I believe what is entrepreneur is like the person who takes the risk. The activity which involves taking risk, especially financially, basically. So entrepreneur activity is like you are an entrepreneur or you are not an entrepreneur. I think it's not like say 56% of entrepreneurship or maybe 95% of entrepreneurship. It's like either you are or either you are not, basically. So for me, entrepreneurship is like taking a risk, taking a financial risk in terms of a calculative risk, and emotional as well as intuitive risks. So coming back to the entrepreneur topic, what are the qualities of an entrepreneurship? I think entrepreneurship is not a rocket science. Entrepreneurship is every within, because as we have heard something that if you are born in Gujarat and if you are a Gujarati, then entrepreneur comes in your DNA. So it is not like that you have to go to Harvard and Cambridge and learn entrepreneurship. It is within you, in your DNA, and entrepreneurs is like day-to-day activity for a Gujarati people. And basically for a Kathiawadi people in Rajkot, as Parag Bhai said, entrepreneurship is like, it's in your heart, it's in your DNA, basically. So yes, entrepreneurship is like taking a risk, courage of leadership, because I would say courage of leadership in a very small way, that being an entrepreneur, you have to lead it, because unless and until it is what you think in yourself. So I would rephrase like entrepreneurship is a self-confidence. You believe in yourself, because when you get a startup, when everybody sees the journey after 20 years, many fascinating things happens, many things, many achievements, many accolades. But when you see, look back the journey is not very smooth. It's very, I mean, it's a bumpy ride. So whenever I or maybe no matter to anybody, that if we start the entrepreneurship, actually it is starting to believe in yourself. So believing in yourself, what you want to do, how you want to do, and what are the things you can achieve at certain heights. So yes, being an entrepreneur, you need to have a learning attitude, because if you do not want to learn, entrepreneurship is you will never succeed. So you have to make a learning attitude in yourself, because if you learn, the more you learn, the more you take a risk, and more you be in the cycle of entrepreneurship. Learning attitude, again, I would say learning attitude with a burning desire, because again, you learn a lot of things. You read a newspaper and you learn a lot of things. Nowadays, web is more education, more information. But what is your burning desire to become? So burning desire with a learning attitude would cherry on the cake of your entrepreneurship activity. Again, entrepreneurship is like there was a chart which forum displayed, and I was amazed that try, fail, try, and then you succeed. So I would say that you try, you fail. Again, you try, you fail. Again, you retry, you smell a success, but you don't achieve it. Again, you try, and then at the end of a trial, you achieve success. So try, fail, try, again fail, retry, and the success is yours. So yes, trying is a heart of an entrepreneurship. Particularly when anybody starts an enterprise. I mean, coming back to my old days, when I started my career, I started manufacturing of engine valves, because Rajkot being an engineering hub, you have to be in Rajkot for something related to engineering. So it is the easy way to enter the business model in Rajkot. So I started my career as a manufacturing of engine valves with a mere couple of local made lathe machines, and then I started the journey. So I know the days that when I first printed my card, I wrote CEO. I didn't know the meaning of CEO exactly. Those days back, CEO means something great. Though the literally meaning chief executive officer, but to write on a card with a value of 10 lakh rupees of startup, and you print it, you feel amazed. So when you write a card on a CEO, you feel that you are a CEO of a company. Now, exactly when I recollect the memories, what did I do as a CEO? Actually, I feel like CEO, but actually I was working like HR and heads, but functioning like accountant. And trust me, office boy is the lowest category in the business, but let me be very honest that it is the most appropriate word for entrepreneurship for a startup people. So believe yourself as an CEO and work as an office boy. So to summarize it, it will have a different impact on your career. So yes, feeling like that we have started my own company, and lot of things has to be done. So in a local language કેવું કહેવાય કે પગી પણ હું ને પટાવાળો હું ને માલિક હું ને શેઠ હું એમ. So it is like you start your own. So that freedom, whenever we get it, that freedom is very different in that of flavor. Uh, Again, uh, coming back to my journey, or maybe what entrepreneurship the topic is, that you have to chase your dreams, because when the moment you started your own, you have certain kind of a dreams, and when you start chasing your dreams, I think you are the first person in the world who knew that this can happen. Whatever the idea is, because it is you only the person, as a person who believes in yourself. Because when you talk the ideas with your friends, with your families, they have reference, because friends and family are the most constructive pillar of your success. But at the same time, they are most critics of your being, because they watch very closely to you about your success, about your failures, about your day-to-day activities, and lot of things. So I think uh, that idea of how to believe in yourself has to be there. Unless and until you don't believe in yourself, you won't be able to break through the ices of entrepreneurship. Uh, Again, over a period of time, I think breaking a monotony is one of the most important thing at a regular intervals, because what I have seen is being an when you start your own company, when you have a startup, when you are a successful enterprise in terms of monetary benefits or monetary financials, you need to go beyond whatever your dreams are. Because I still recall Lakshmi Mittal's interview that long back, say about 15 years back. He said that I mean, dreams are like goals are like football post, because the distance of ball and a goal post varies at all different levels. Because the moment one person kicks the football to the another person, the distance is changed. So you have to maintain that distance, seeking the goalpost, that where the goalpost is. So maybe the ball is in your court, in others' court, in favor of your opponent or yourself, but the goalpost has to remain there, and you have to target the goalpost. So yes, that was the case. And apart from that, you have to be very focused. Your priorities has to be scheduled. Lots, I think, entrepreneurship also come with some disguise, because what happens is, everybody will say a good part of an entrepreneur, but I would showcase some of the worst part also of being an entrepreneur. Because what happens is, over the period of time, because of some success, you are burdened with your ego. And that is one of the big fear after a couple of years. Again, being after an entrepreneurship, I think it's very tough to unlearn, because over the period of time, what you learn, I think unlearn is also one of the most thing which you need to inculcate in your phases, because you need to unlearn at certain point of time, and again you need to relearn about that. Also, entrepreneurship is about challenging your comfort zones, because unless and until you don't challenge your comforts, I think no fruits will lie on your lap if you are on the comfort zone. So being a successful entrepreneur, I think you need to come out from your comfort zone. So I think for an entrepreneurship 101, I would summarize my brief of 10 minutes in entrepreneurship should have leadership courage. You should believe in yourself. Your self-esteem should be on the highest level. No matter what the world is saying, you need to believe in yourself. You need to have a learning attitude. You need to have, after a learning attitude, you need to again unlearn and relearn a lot of activities. And at certain point of time, in a phase when you achieve success, or maybe achieve any benefits of your entrepreneurship, I think you need to delegate a lot of things to the subsidiary channels, and unless and until that change of pattern doesn't happen, you are not fruitful for the entrepreneurship activity. So yes, I think I made in my time 10 minutes forum, if I'm not wrong. So
Yes.
that's from me for the entrepreneurship, and I'll be very happy for panel discussion, questions for new people who want to be an entrepreneur, or maybe any ifs and cons and pros and cons of entrepreneurship.
Sure. I've mentioned your key points in the chat box, and again I'll mention it again at the end of this session. You have mentioned almost all the points. I'm worried what is coming next from Vipul bhai and Shital bhai. Thank you so much. Next we have Vipul Vachhani, our very own, sitting outside of India, but originally with the roots of Rajkot. And I would request Nilesh bhai to please give the formal introduction, and then we can have his words.
Thank you, Forum. As Vipul bhai rightly said, that Entrepreneurship 101 is basically about how you are being able to negotiate each as you change the orbits and go into higher orbit, how you're able to actually take care of the scenarios as the changing scenarios. I think one person with us who's done it very well and who's done it time and again is Vipul bhai, and I'm privileged to be allowed to introduce him. The few words that I say about him will not be able to really summarize the person that he is. All the same, I will make an attempt. Vipul bhai Vachhani is a founder and CEO of Jaivel Aerospace, which is basically a UK-based company with Group International headquarters at East Midlands. As the founder and CEO of Jaivel, Vipul bhai is responsible for ensuring the company's effectiveness in delivering their mission to deliver competitive advantage to their clients. He's driven by his firm belief that the long-term growth and industry leadership of the company will always be the byproduct of their clients' success. That is a very important point for all entrepreneurs, I feel. If you have to be successful, I think you have to look at what value you are delivering, and that is where I think Jaivel Aerospace has been able to make a huge difference. Within Jaivel, his key role is to develop and execute strategic and corporate initiatives throughout the organization and to ensure the company is the most preferred choice to solve the challenges of tomorrow's manufacturing organizations and remain a great place to work. That again is very important, as Vipul bhai rightly said, that your team is actually how you delegate the jobs. But if you don't have a wonderful team, it is all useless. And I think you need to make sure that it's a great place to work. And he has put it very rightly. So from the UK based and Group International headquarters in the Middle East, Vipul bhai provides strong support for Anglo-Indian trade relationships and speaks at many events, sharing his experience in establishing Jaivel as trusted partner for global aerospace and advanced manufacturing organizations. As Vipul bhai, he is also an engineer. Our second panelist is also an engineer. He's a mechanical engineer from Bangalore University and passed out in 1998. During the early stages of his career in India and in US, Vipul bhai worked for new product development organizations where he established a strong foundation in technology R&D in the field of turbo engineering, turbo machinery, and aerospace engineering. Right from his engineering school days, he was fascinated by the application of computers in engineering, and in those days he developed several unique engineering industry platforms and solutions. Over to you, Vipul bhai. We look forward to having words of wisdom from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nilesh bhai. Thank you so much for your kind introduction. Thank you, RMA Parag Bhai Forum, for this opportunity to share my views. Also, I think first thing I'd like to start with is I saw somewhere Deepak Bhai such day here. If Deepak Bhai you are here, I would like to say thank you to you. 20 years ago, I remember attending Saurashtra Productivity Council meetings, which you used to organize, and listening to a lot of experts. So thank you so much. Even in those days, providing that forward-thinking outlook to the entrepreneurs when we were growing up. Uh, 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 excuse me. Our journey very much started in Rajkot. I was born and brought up in Rajkot, and even Jaivel was started in Rajkot in 1998. We had an extremely small setup. We started with about 5 lakhs rupees of total investment in the beginning, and where the Lakshmi Nagar main road is, that is where we were based out of a little office. Over the course of 20 years, I had opportunity to see a lot of world, lot of challenges, and grow through the time, grow through the technology that has been developed. One of the key topics that is suggested today is taking risk, following gut. Yeah, we all know that entrepreneurs need to take risk. We need to follow our gut. We need to believe in our dreams. How do we do that? How do we practice it? How do we make that is a reality of a day-to-day challenges that we face as an entrepreneur? I've collected about 5 or 6 key points which I have learned through my journey, which I can cover in next 10 minutes. The first thing is your friends and family. Entrepreneurship is a very lonely place, very lonely journey. You are surrounded by large team. You grow a business. You have a lot of people working within your business. You have a lot of suppliers, customers, and you are surrounded by lots of people. But in spite of that, it is a very lonely place. When you go back, sit down in your office and close the door, you have 10,000 different problems to solve. Every morning you walk up to your desk. There is no such thing. I've never seen in my 20-year journey that 15 days goes without surprises. There are surprises every other day on your desk, and faster you are moving, the faster those surprises come in. You need those support system around you, a robust support system around you. Very good. Honestly discuss your problems. You don't have to be the CEO. You don't have to be the big managing director or anything. You can be yourself and you can share your problems, discuss your problems, and seek the support. So I would I would strongly recommend that invest time with your friend and family. Build that support system around you. You would need that. The next point, I would say, first thing is when we hear about entrepreneurship, when we meet, and as a young boy, when I used to go and listen to a lot of people, the first thing what we used to notice, or I used to notice, was a success and wealth. The reality of entrepreneurship, when I started experiencing it, was very, very different. In my 20 years journey, I was far more closer to failures than success. And I was far more closer to being poor than being wealthy. So as an entrepreneur, this is first thing you need to understand, that you would be a lot closer to failures than a success. Success is an elusive destination which comes and goes. The failure is always around you. It's just next door every day. The bigger the step you take, bigger the failure you are facing. And you're not every day morning when you sit on a desk and start your work, you're not chasing really success. You are really focused on avoiding failures most of the times. And when you succeed in avoiding those failures, that's called success. And the next day morning, the next challenges. Similarly, risk. Risk is not an ability to create wealth. The risk comes from a mindset that you are ready to lose. You don't care if you lose. If you have a little less wealth or a lot less wealth, you are still going to fight this journey. And that's the mindset you need to have to start as a entrepreneurship. And you're not going to have, nobody has that on a first day. Yeah, we have a hunch, it's not crystallized, but it gets matured as we start walking the journey and as we start learning things. So I think the first point is failure will come before success. Be ready for it. It's okay. There is nothing wrong with it. The second thing which I would like to say, a point I'd like to make is think big but start small. I have been personally, I'm a very big fan of a start small. Within the development of Jaivel, yeah, overall brand name and organization name is same, but we have started lots of things, new things. What we were doing 20 years ago and what we are doing today is a radically different business. And it is radically different solutions, services, technologies, and over next 5, 10, 15 years, we'll continue to change or we'll continue to start new things. The start small is hugely important. You may be coming from a wealthy family and be tempted that you can start with big steps. I would say rethink twice. The starting small helps establish those core foundations of whatever you are doing, whether you are a manufacturing business, engineering business, design business, in mass production or whatever, allows you to build those core foundations, which are absolutely key. The second thing, which I see it more and more often, and I myself was a victim to that thought process in the early stage of my career, was don't compare. Don't compare yourself with absolutely anybody. You are yourself, you are the entrepreneur, and it's your journey. Your success and your failure is not going to look like your friend's success and friend's failure. It's your journey. It never stops. It doesn't stop when things are not going well, and it doesn't stop when things are going very well. You have to stick to your journey. Nowadays, or over last 10 years, we keep hearing a lot of stories of extremely fast growth, valuation, market cap, and so on, so on, so on, so on. Don't create the stress out of all of this. Oyo rooms and this, that, and many other journeys. Yeah, they have done what they've done. It's okay. You keep walking the journey. And it's not about creating the wealth or the value overnight. It's about building a robust organization which can sustain the good times and the bad times. It's a journey. It's an institution. I personally have been greatly inspired by organizations like Tata or Godrej, who have successfully, generations after generations, have built a solid foundation. They've grown and they've really done a service to the society. That's the dream worth chasing for. You can't do 2 generations work in 1 generation, but you can do your work correctly and hope that somebody will take it forward. So that's about think big and start small. The next point I'd like to emphasize, and I have suffered this for a very long time, is one of the biggest dilemma for an entrepreneur is focus in business or focus on business. As Ripple mentioned that as a CEO, I would say that I completely agree with him that what does CEO do? CEO does everything which others don't want to do. And also CEO does everything that company can't afford to buy. I remember when we started our UK operations, I used to wear nice tie and suit on weekdays and turn up in my jeans and t-shirt and do the vacuum cleaning of my entire office when nobody was there, and next day morning, because that saved some money. And there are innumerable examples of all the CEOs. It's not a big deal. That's how the things work. Everybody does it. All the entrepreneurs do it. One of the at early stage, or in first 10 years, 5 to 10 years, the biggest challenge entrepreneur faces is to develop the business. You have to focus on business. That means you have to step back, look at the bigger view of it, and decide where do you go. But usually it's difficult to find time to focus on business because you're busy fighting the day-to-day challenges. If somebody has not turned up, somebody is on leave, customer is not happy, there is a problem, there are logistics issues and thousands of different things. You will have to consciously plan this, that this is my focus on days and this is my focus in days. Difficult to master that art, but once you get a hang of it, you'd really like it. And it will make such a huge difference in business. And that's an ongoing habit. You'll have to keep on, it never stops. You will have to focus in business. One of the myths of delegation, and a lot of people say that, oh, I've got a team and I don't need to worry about it.
Hello.
I think that's completely false. If you are a CEO, you need to worry about
Please repeat. Please repeat.
Sorry, don't disturb in between. Yes.
Yeah. So I was talking about the delegation. So in terms of delegation or focus in business, of course, every CEO needs to have a absolutely a strong connect with the day-to-day operations of what's happening. The next topic I would like to mention, and that's point number 5.
Hello.
Sorry for the nuisance.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, the point number 5 I would like to make is understanding the fundamental difference between profit and cash flow. You can survive a couple of years without profit. You can't survive without a cash flow. And as an engineer entrepreneur, it was very hard for me to understand in early days. I wasn't bothered about the cash flow actually. I was more focused on profit in the beginning. Fortunately, I am married to a chartered accountant and she made sure that I understood it. And she keeps on making sure that I don't forget about it throughout the journey. But that's one of the most important aspects, that as an entrepreneur, you got to keep a handle on a cash flow. If that means every day morning turning up and that's your first item of a discussion, review, and correction, so be it, because it matters. And the last topic, what I would like to say is build trust, build team. Now, who is the team? Let's talk about the team. Your customer is a team. Your supplier is a team. Your bank is a team. And your people who work with your organization is a team. And it should be a specific agenda item on any entrepreneur's diary to give a dedicated time to all these 4 key stakeholders. And you can have your own judgment. There are no meters available. There are no surveys available. But you need to make sure that trust at all these 4 key stakeholders is at the highest possible level. If it is not, you need to do something about it. It is as good as your next dispatch to a customer or a sales or exhibition or whatever you're doing to grow your business. This is equally important topic. It takes time and it's a long process. And that is where the importance of your values, vision, mission, and you living by it comes into the picture. So I think these are the key points which we have learned through our journey. I think that's about it from my side. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, Vipul. Thank you so much. I would just like to have once again recall you on the term. CEO does all the work that others don't want to do. And what was the other line? CEO buys all. What?
Or company can't afford to buy.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much. Those were really the pearls of wisdom. I'll just post it in the chat box. We have now our third speaker, Shital by Bathia, and I happen to have a long call with him, and I came to know that he is into hospitality business, and he, since his childhood, used to love doing parties, and he said, like, I am doing what I used to love since my childhood. I do parties and I make people happy. So that's his business. I would request Mayank Batavia to please formally welcome and introduce Shital bhai, and then we can move forward with the panel discussion.
Thank you, Forum. મારો અવાજ સંભળાય છે?
Yes, you're audible.
Oh, thank you. First of all, Vipul bhai, thank you. Wonderful discussion. મને એમાં એક line બહુ પસંદ પડી. You said success is elusive and failure is always next door. That's
Correct.
Probably the most valuable line for an entrepreneur to remember. Wonderful, and thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and another thing you said, failure comes before success. I was reminded of the fact that failure comes before success even in dictionary. So you're very right. Wonderful. Thank you. I'm really happy. મજા આવે છે to introduce Shital by Bathia. Actually, entrepreneurs, they are people full of energy and full of passion. Passion એટલે એને કંઈક ગમતું કરવાની ઈચ્છા હોય, અને energy is what actually will carry them forward to do whatever they love. Some entrepreneurs are slightly difficult to classify because they have been into more than one areas of activity, and Shital by Bathia is most certainly one of them. Shital bhai did his graduation, BSc in statistics in 1996, and then he finished his MBA 98. એના પછી IIM management development program પણ attend કર્યો 99 માં. And after that he entered the .com business way back in 1999, way back before it was already fashionable. It grew quite well, but somewhere around the 9/11 attack, and ખાસ કરીને internet penetration was still very low in India. The business did not do well, and he had to close it down. And what I really enjoy when I talk about and talk with Shital bhai is he enjoys talking about his failures as much as his success with Goverdhan Greens. જેમના અત્યારે he is the CEO, Goverdhan Greens Resort at Dwarka. After the .com business, he entered the hospitality and housekeeping business. Cleaning master કરીને એમણે service શરૂ કરી હતી. And very soon it grew into a large team of 70 plus. And they were poised for a major expansion. And suddenly, again, bija external factors પાછા આવ્યા, factors like subprime crisis and stuff. જેને કારણે support services, the kind of services he was providing, had to suffer. And again, Emathi also he had to withdraw. But I guess he took 2 very important lessons from both the businesses. First, because he was into technology, so he could understand how to deploy technology. And second, housekeeping mathi, where he actually connected the dots and went on to what he is really happy doing today, the hospitality. Goverdhan Greens started out on a phase 1 2011 માં પૂરું થયું. Goverdhan Greens is actually a resort in the pilgrimage city of Dwarka. And phase 2, Goverdhan Greens 2 was completed in 2014, and by that time they had become the biggest player in the market there. Apart from the fact that he is the largest player there, મને બીજી એક બે વસ્તુ બહુ fascinating લાગે છે is that they are a water positive body, in the sense that they actually bring more water, rather they save more water than they actually use. And એમની આ activity, which is very dear to him, is also covered by various platforms like Your Story and newspapers like Times of India and everywhere else. Shital Bhai was awarded the Best Green Resort Award by Gujarat Tourism Department. And of course, as an entrepreneur, he enjoyed receiving another award, like, for example, the Rising Sun Award given by the entrepreneur platform eChai. Shital Bhai also founded Club Empiria, which is basically an aggregation of clubs and hotels. And he also heads the Devbhoomi Dwarka Foundation in Dwarka, which actually spearheads business activities, hospitality, and everything related to hospitality and tourism in Dwarka. So it was actually a pleasure talking about Shital Bhai, because he's really a multifaceted person. And before I hand over, Forum, thank you. That was a wonderful poster design you made, and I really loved the design.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think that's about it. Thank you so much.
Good evening, one and all. મારી પહેલાના બે સ્પીકર અને કંઈક બાકી રહી ગયું હતું તો મયંકભાઈએ મારા માટે કંઈ કહેવાનું બાકી નથી રાખ્યું. Means everything is being covered what I originally wanted to share. Okay. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. So let me share my entrepreneur journey, rather than discussing any what are the qualities of entrepreneur or something which is already being covered. So that is the reason I'm not taking that. So in my opinion, entrepreneurship is not a destination. It is a journey. And what I'm going to do today is going to share my journey so far, because it is an endless journey. And rightly Vipul Bhai said that failures always, knocks your doors. So I have experienced it in a big way in my life. So as it is being already said in the introduction, still I am just recapping. I started my .com business way back in 1999. It was much ahead of time, much before Flipkart and other things, right? And again, that too, .com, again, that too into business to consumer e-commerce, which was something very much unknown in India. To best of my knowledge, couple of people were doing prior to me, and one among them was the Rediff.com, right? But suddenly, there is always something which is some external factor, which is always being there. Okay, so there comes the 9/11 in 2001, and it was suddenly a bubble burst of .com business world over. So I become victim of that, and suddenly from top of something, straight away, ऊंचे छलांग लगाई नीचे कुआं में, right? Necessity is mother of all invention. तो वो टाइम पे I was badly missing quality housekeeping from my staff. So that has given me an insight कि if that happened to be my requirement, this could be requirement of so many people. And that's how I entered into housekeeping business into 2003. Absolutely from zero, we have grown to a team size of about 70 plus. Okay, and we were poised, rather we were on the take-off stage of our journey of expansion. And there suddenly comes the subprime crisis of 2008. The beauty is nothing has happened in India. Okay, whatever happened, that was happened in the US. But my clientele base, they happen to be the corporates. So it was left, right, center, cost cutting kind of things. And support service is the first victim. Okay. Because uske liye raw material, something which they do not have direct control on that. Okay. Labor is something they are not having directly control on that to a great extent. But support services is something where they can squeeze and do the cost cutting, right? So that's how it was a big setback in 2008. Subsequently, I started Goverdhan Green Resort in 2011. And there is also a COVID crisis of 2020, 2019, 2020, right? So, in my opinion, history repeats. Let us keep the finger crossed what is going to happen next, right? But the things which I learned or I gathered during my entrepreneur journey is lesson number one: when going gets tough, tough gets going. And behind every problem, there are numerous opportunities. There is not only an opportunity, there are numerous opportunities. As an entrepreneur, you have to have your senses open, your calling within. You know, you have to listen to your call from within, right? Again, next takeaway to my journey is based on my experience, because majority of my ventures, and rather all of my ventures, are there in service sector. I have not been to agriculture, or I have not been to manufacturing or any sort of stuff, right? So, but in more or less it applies to anything, right? Essentially, an enterprise requires three types of brains: A, very good planning brain; B, very good execution brain; C, very good maintenance or operation brains, right? It is coincide with Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh of the world, right? So the idea is find out your strengths. What are your strengths out of these three? So I found out that planning and execution, first two steps, are really my strengths. And do outsource whatever is your weakness, right? So this is I learned hard way, and I am managing this Goverdhan Green Resort since 2011, and my entire operations has been outsourced to my general manager. I am absolutely, free from day-to-day life of operations. So this is something which I consider it happened to be my weakness, day-to-day operations and maintenance. So I outsourced it with the help of general manager. Again, it's a part of team building, right? Another important learning that I learned, that is being a pioneer in any field, it also has its own cost. Okay. So simply before jumping into any of the, venture, one entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur required to factor in this cost as well, okay, which I was not at all aware about. I have experienced this cost in all my three ventures till now. And as Vipul bhai rightly said in his presentation, real growth is outside your comfort zone. So always I had rather, till my journey so far, time and again, I have challenged my own comfort zone, and I get out of my comfort zone, and that's where I found real growth is. And finally, in wrapping up, the final point I would like to make as my learning from my entrepreneur journey so far, my biggest strength is I know nothing. I am zero. Okay. So I did that statement about 10 years back in a public platform with CNBC Awas channel. Hamara sabse biggest strength hai our zero experience status. So I used to be a zero in 2010. I am zero even today in 2020. Only the fact is the size of zero has squeezed down to a little extent. That's all I had to share in my journey so far. Anything, I'm looking forward for the panel discussion and any specific questions. I would be more than happy to take. Meanwhile, I would like to thank entire team RMA, right from chairman, president, and entire executive committee, and especially Mayank bhai for very kind introduction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shital bhai. Now we have our exciting panel discussion with us. Uh, we have, though, because we had all the three entrepreneurs with us, we thought to pick up another entrepreneur for the panel discussion as a moderator, just because that person can understand the journey very well. So we have with us our own member of RMA, Vishal Sarvaiya, and he runs his own industry, Shree Industries, and along with that, many other trades and uh, manufacturing businesses. Would welcome Vishal bhai and take over from here for the panel discussion.
Thank you very much.
He already has a couple of questions in hand, and I would request all the participants to post your questions along with this discussion. Over to you, Vishal bhai.
Thank you very much for.
And I must mention that anybody here who is into their own entrepreneurship journey right now and want to unmute their mic and share about their journey or seeking some guidance, particular guidance from any of the speaker, can do the honors in the end of the session. And any along with our RMA executive committee, along with all the speakers, Vishal bhai, everybody would be very glad to help you in any way out. Particularly if I have any idea, I first go to Vishal bhai and share, and I look forward that he helps with all his kind. So over to you, Vishal bhai. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Absolutely speechless. કેમ કે અત્યારે સુધી જે લોકો બોલ્યા, not just the speakers, but even જે લોકોએ એમનું introduction આપ્યું, એ બી એટલી બધી સારી વાત કરી છે ને બધાએ. So I'm absolutely speechless, and the positive vibes that have come from all the three speakers, I'm sure you all must have felt that. We are in a area of Saurashtra region, જ્યાં આપણે થોડું એવું બી કહી શકીએ, fortunately or unfortunately, all are born entrepreneurs and forced entrepreneurs too. I can repeat, fortunately or unfortunately, we have so many forced entrepreneurs between us. નું કારણ છે કે ભણી લીધા પછી કદાચ ઓછા માર્ક્સ આવ્યા અને 15-20 હજારની જોબ કરવી પડે, એ આપણા સૌરાષ્ટ્રના અડધા લોકોને કરવી નથી. એટલે they try entrepreneurship and most of them have succeeded. So, and entrepreneurship is more like a stock market kind of thing. Okay? Someone is happy selling things and someone is happy buying the same stock at the same time. The future group na biyani, whatever may be the reason, personal reasons, but future group thought of selling the stakes of future. Kishore Viyani thought of selling the stakes into future group. The Reliance thought they would make more strong footprints in the market by taking over the company. So it is, entrepreneurship is more like, not like right or wrong decisions. It is more about taking a decision rationally and logical decisions and making it right. So now, if any of you have any questions, then please do write in the chat box. We will take the question. But till then, I have some of the questions with me. First of all, Vipul, I have a question for you. What do you think is the best source of fundraising? SME IPOs or equity funding or funding from friends, bank loans or partnership? What do you think is the best source of fundraising?
Any one of them. We can't really differentiate between those. It is very subjective and circumstantial. Having said that, it is also important that for what kind of entrepreneurship venture it is. Whether is it a technology-led, is it capital investment-led entrepreneurship venture, or at which stage of the business you are in. Each has its own pros and cons. And you can find ample examples of each of them succeeding and failing. Having said that, in modern times, the one of the funding model which has caught my attention personally is the SME IPOs. The reason that has caught my attention is that the IPO was a very effective model of raising capital, and but it was out of the grasp of SME. You needed to be of certain size, but the regulatory and framework changes, particularly in India in the last 4 or 5 years, have made that possible, the SME IPO. Also, if you want to pursue that, it instills a very high degree of financial discipline within the business. Otherwise, you can't really approach the SME IPO. Even that exercise itself is very useful for the organization. Even ultimately, you might not go for an IPO, but the kind of the systems, processes, and the structuring of your business that needs to go through to get there, which is quite important for any businesses.
Okay. Vipul bhai, the market is very volatile as of now, and you need to have personal attention on the ongoings in the company. But then how much do you think it is valid to stay in the company office for the whole day to look after day-to-day operations and not to think much about or more about than anything else than the company that you are in? And, how much do you think is the essential or necessity of a person or the CEO itself himself to be present in the company to run the company?
See, I would say in a different way, there are two phases of entrepreneurship. Once you are in the struggling stage and once you are in the settled stage. Now, in both the cases, the scenario differs. So, if you are in the struggling stage, then in struggling stage, yes, a physical presence is much more important because you don't have formal reports, you don't have a formal way of analyzing the thing. It is you in the person who looks after everything. People have joined today, production has been made, deliveries has been done, so far so like that. So yes, physical importance in the initial stages when you are in the struggling stage, yes, physical importance is much more important. But when you grow and at certain part of the enterprise is more functional and more resourceful, then yes, physical presence is not required, because what happens is nowadays lot of tools have been very much powerful, that you set up ERPs, you set up reporting systems, you have a lot of people to take care of day-to-day affairs. So your role is very strict for decision-making process. So at later stage, physical presence in the offices is not required at what it is. But yes, in the struggling stage, it is more important, because when you go to the office or when you go to your workplace, things are lined up with a lot of difficulties, problems, and so forth. So when you see it and you have to resolve it. So I think I answered your question.
Yes. Once, very long back, I have read it somewhere. In a bit settled stage, if you are spending more than 8 to 10 hours in your office looking after day-to-day operations, then there is some mismanagement going on in the company. Maybe you don't have the perfect staff allotted, or you are not delegating the things, or maybe you are too embracing or too grabbing things in your hand, which you should not. Over a period of time, you should let the things loose, and you should develop a kind of team, as it was discussed by two of the speakers, that you need a good team development. That's really very true. Shital bhai,
Vishal, I would
you.
like to add a couple of
Yes, sir.
points on this topic. As a young boy, I had a chance to visit Tata Chemicals factory in Mithapur. I must have been about 16 or 17, something like that, with one of my uncle who was doing business. And the general manager whom he was meeting, he was saying that JRD Tata is visiting there in next week. And he said that he had come here for inauguration 25 years ago, and now he's coming after that. For a 17-year-old boy, it didn't make any sense. But as I started establishing Jaivel as a business, started running it, from a train station or bus station when I was visiting, I was traveling, I hardly had a time to go back to home. I wanted to get back to the factory first. So I found myself in a very different situation to what Mr. J.R.D. Tata was doing. And it kept the mystery on for a very long time, that how is that possible that you are not required at factory? And at that time, I could not see that possibility at all. I had to be there. Wherever you have gone, first thing you do is you turn up at factory, make sure everything is okay, and then go back to home and take a bath. Things like that. So I'd made a mission for myself that I'm going to demystify this. I'm going to understand how it all works. And over the course of our journey growth, we had about 6 different operations. One in Bangalore, Mumbai, Rajkot, UK, Germany, US. I could not be in all the offices at the same time, even if I wanted it. And is there a straightforward a solution or a key or a framework to getting there from the situation where you have to be in the factory or office to that you can visit every 3 months or every 4 months? That is where the build trust and build team comes into picture. It's a long process. It is a very long process. It's a hard process, and you have to keep on fixing. You will not get everything right in the first time. But eventually it is possible. Personal belief, I think entrepreneurs should always have a place where he is alone, away from a noise. And you make a choice when you want to be in that place or in your working environment.
I had the question lined up for you, that how do you manage all the different destinations? Do you visit each and every places every now and then, every often, or you do sit in one office and you just manage the things?
No, I do travel. I do travel a lot. Personal connect with the people is extremely important, especially when you have the operations in different culture, different cities, different countries, different geographies. That personal connect is even more important. So CEO does not really have an option to go away and don't turn up. You do need to have that people connect. Also, the old bureaucratic ways of running the organization and companies in a modern world I don't think is relevant. The speed is tremendous nowadays, and also people don't work for a company. People work with people. Company is just a place where everything comes together. So, and as a leader, you need to hold that charge. You need to demonstrate. You need to convey the vision. You need to convey the change. So yeah, you got to meet people. You have to travel.
The Shital Bhai is operating from Rajkot, his Goverdhan Greens is a very nice thing. He has managed it very well. Shital Bhai, question for you. અત્યારે ટેકનોલોજીના કારણે the data access is very easy. So if anyone wants to start anything new, so each and every point, mostly each and every aspect of the, maybe say if we say manufacturing, so it is very much available online. So new generation entrepreneurs mate, is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Obviously, it is a good thing, yeah.
No,
It is obvious.
so many people will also start following you, and nothing is tough nowadays.
Correct. See, earlier days, when you start of thinking, you start of doing something new, some enterprise things. the first thing comes into mind is your physical infrastructure. From where do you operate? That is question number one. Okay, the place, the capital, and all this, the basic ingredients. आज के दिन में क्या है? Simple smartphone. Okay, so it's a boon. It's really a boon.
Yes, but it would also increase the competition, or the easiness of the entry barrier would be reduced.
See, ultimately, in my opinion, if your idea has the merit and if it solves some unsolved problems, then in long run there is a chance of survival. लेकिन जितना जल्दी ओपन होता है उतना जल्दी क्लोज भी तो होता है. आज के means I'm thinking about today's enterprise, especially the .coms and apps kind of things.
Yes, people should be thinking of business, or the entrepreneurship should be on the line of where entry barrier should be high, and so do the exit barriers. So એવા કોઈ field select કરવાથી competition ઓછી થાય છે. That is what I think.
See, it also, again, it's whether you look the half glass full or half glass empty. It's a kind of scenario, as the entry barrier is low, so does the exit barrier. So it's both the side, means it's a two side of a coin, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. Ripple, by one question to you. You are associated with so many other different companies. Now, does it happen that બંને કંપનીના partners અલગ છે? So, finance wise everything is sorted, but time wise your involvement in one company may be more, one other company may be less. So has it been ever like કઈ તકલીફ પડી હોય, અથવા તો how would you guide to a people, I mean to the person, કે બે અલગ અલગ પાર્ટનરશિપ યુનિટ અથવા તો અલગ અલગ ડાયરેક્ટર સાથેની બે કંપની ખોલવી હોય તો how to manage the things?
Exactly. This is currently I am working on both the different models. My both companies in Everest Fertilizers, I am the majority stakeholder. So at that, my physical presence is not required. But yes, coming back to the Fiotex, which is again a big organization, there we are a couple of directors. But it is like to strike a balance. See, ultimately, when you are forming a company or when you are joining the enterprise at a different level, you know your core strength. You know the core strength of your partners. Unless and until you need to delegate the work from the beginning of the enterprise. Because see, when I started, Everest Fertilizers was not my startup. Actually, my dad started it, but eventually, because of his illness, I had to join that company. But in Fiotex, actually, it was a calibrated decision that 3 people will join a company, and these roles are fixed, and this kind of its priority is defined. So when you define your priorities, I think it is very easy for company to run on that prior definitions of your roles and responsibilities.
As you said earlier, બીજા કોઈના આપણે તમે જતા you used to see how money and how much fame the person has gained when you were a kid or when you were on the startup time of thing. So અત્યારે બી બધા startups એકબીજાને જોવે છે ને, જે when they see big business houses, they feel કે આ સાઈઝ આપણે તો ક્યારે પહોંચી જ નહીં શક્યા, આ તો આ જ લોકોએ છે જેમને કરી લીધું છે, આપણાથી તો થવાનું નથી. So many people do believe, even me, when I started 14 years back, 13-14 years back, ત્યારે મને બી હતું કે હું બી કંઈ બહુ મોટું નહીં કરી શકું, મોટું તો જે લોકો બધા કરે છે આપણે એમને જોઈએ છે. So how would you compensate, or maybe આ લોકોને words of wisdom કંઈ શું આપી શકીએ સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ માટે?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. At the beginning of any journey, the destination is rarely visible, or most destinations are on other side of horizon, somewhere else. You can't even see it. Also, the another thing, and it's a natural human instinct, I have suffered from it, that when you start at the beginning or in phase of the journey, you want to know it all. કે ભાઈ નેક્સ્ટ ટર્ન કેવો આવશે ને ત્યાર પછી આગળ શું થવાનું છે ને પછી ક્યારે પહાડ ચાલુ થવાના છે ને ક્યારે નદી આવશે. We want to know it all at the beginning. Impossible. We will never know it all. Either we make a peace with it or we develop the capability that je avse e ladsu. Once you have that mindset, you don't need to know it all.
Absolutely.
And it is that mindset, and that mindset comes from few failures. કે તમારી પાસે મોટો થોડોક sizable failure આવે, you fight for it, there are 2-3 years of real struggle, and then you come out winning again. Then you are ready for the next size of failure actually. And that's really the best part. Best part is not knowing it all. I would give an absolutely great example. I have followed personally Ratan Tata as a leader. And why would Nano fail? If every resources are there to do the analytics, market study, there was a passion into it. As a mechanical engineer, I know it's a fantastic product. There is nothing wrong with the product. It took tremendous amount of value engineering to get it in 1 lakh rupees. So the message from that is that nobody knows it all. Nobody can know it all. If you are whether you are a multi-billion-dollar business or you are a startup, nobody knows it all. Isn't that the best part? That even
As
your
Shital bhai
they
mentioned
don't
in
know it
his
all.
speech. Yes, I know zero.
Correct.
It is shrinking, but then also at this moment we are at zero. So Shital bhai, what are the absolutely एक वर्ड के एक सेंटेंस में તમે કહી શકો કે most basic or most necessary skill set for an entrepreneur is
Most necessary? Can you repeat?
skill set in
Skill
one
set.
word or in a sentence કે શું એક વસ્તુ એવી છે કે જેનાથી entrepreneurship is the most basic thing needed.
Right. That is the burning desire. That is in one word. Burning desire. If you have the desire, you know everything. You gain the knowledge, you acquire the skill, you build the team, you arrange the finance, everything. But burning desire is something which is the single most important thing. I think that is the answer.
Okay, we have a question from one of the participants, Dr. Monica Verma. How advisable is it to start first venture with partnership? So to that, any of the speakers can reply.
Can I? Because
Yes,
I have,
please.
yeah, I have started my first venture with the partner, right? Second, I was at my own, and again in my third venture, I have got partner in a different position, right? So I have got 360-degree, overview of my journey, entrepreneur journey since 1998 till date, right? The single most important thing which you as an entrepreneur should be considering how much let go you are ready to do. Do not expect your partners, do not expect that my co-founder will do this much for me. And again, always the partnership goes well when there is a complementing skill set or a complementing each other. If you've got the same skill set, two techies, both are एक ही domain में expertise, then in my opinion this partnership will not flourish. If one party happen to be a techie while another party happen to be a administrator or a marketeer or something of that sort, that partnership will flourish. But being an entrepreneur, you should be ready to let go. That is the key word.
To that, I would add, first of all, you need to figure out why do you need a partner. અત્યારે ઘણા બધા લોકોને એવું છે કે we need some co-founder or partner to work along with. Maybe just because of the social security, is it because of the finances that you need, or is it because you are looking for a special skill, maybe a software કરવાનું હોય, બનાવવાનું હોય. So if you are looking for someone who is in touch with the field, so it works. But the primary question is, why do you need a partner? from Parag Bhai to Vipul Bhai, UK economy is kind of shrinking or at least not growing. How entrepreneurs take such scenario? And what opportunity do you see for Indian companies on the back of offset policy for defense sector?
Right. There are 2-3 different questions in it.
Yeah.
I'm not really an expert on economy and economics. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I understand technology better than the economy. Due to COVID-19, yeah, UK economy has shrunk with a huge margin, about 20% in last few quarters, and it's likely to recover. Everybody is optimistic, but only time will say. But overall, as an entrepreneur, every entrepreneur needs to deal with this. The economies will go up and economies will go down. Demand will go up and demand will go down. Nothing can prepare for you it. One of the points which I had mentioned in my key, my little discussion was cash flow. So it is always important that you have some money, some margin, some safety cushions for the rainy day. Nobody could predict COVID-19. Nobody could predict 2008 financial crash. Nobody could predict .com event in 2000. And in future also, there would not be any prediction. You need to have that safety margin. Don't get overexcited with word called risk, because all the stakeholders around you are not sympathetic to it. It is only entrepreneur's problem. Every individual will expect you to pay the salary on time. Every supplier will expect the payment on time. Bank will expect their dues on time, and so on, so on, and so on. So when we talk about financial risk, it's your own, and you'll have to factor in within the business. Economy going down, how to survive in it, is really, that is where the difference between the solid foundation, your technology, innovation within the business, ability to change. We work in aerospace sector. 90% of our work is in aerospace sector. In January, our order book was healthy for next 5 years. In June, it's done. There's no work. So as an organization, we need to deal with it. And it's your innovation and adaptability allows you to deal with some things like this. Have I answered? I've answered the economic question. There was another thing.
Okay. One last question we'll take. We are about to end the session. It's already 7:30.
Yes.
Dinesh Bhai Kakkad is having one question. Dinesh Bhai, why can't you ask it yourself?
Okay, my question was for Vipul Bhai. Actually, we are very fascinated by the word aerospace and aeronautics. When we think of it, we are reminded of NASA and ISRO. So I would like to, have some insight from Vipul Bhai. What exactly is, nature of Jaivel is doing, and how do you think that ISRO is doing very good compared to so many developed nations which are forerunner of India, and how you are contributing to it?
Right. So first thing, what we are doing. Our core business is design of manufacturing processes and manufacturing systems. So when any new aircraft is developed, the one question is how to make it. And we play a role in designing the manufacturing processes for the new products in an aircraft. Not at an aircraft level, at a systems level or at a subsystems level. We also design manufacturing systems. So the systems which helps manufacturing and assembly of that aircraft. That is what we do as a core business. We work with most of the leading aircraft companies, Boeing, Airbus, and so on, so and so. Your next point was ISRO and what we are doing with ISRO. We have been involved with one part of ISRO, which is Space Application Center in Ahmedabad. And we've been supplying satellite components and satellite systems to Ahmedabad for almost last 20 years. There are more than 20,000 components which is made by us, which is in orbit today in various satellites. In nutshell, I can say that after 2000, every satellite that India has launched, there is something we have done is there in the satellite.
Great. Over to the closing remarks to Paresh bhai.
Vishal bhai, 1 second. There is one question from Meet. Would you like to unmute and ask yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Do specify your specific details of your startup and not the generic one. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, all. I am still in a planning stage of building a new venture for a FMCG product. So my question is that how should I build a proper distribution channel?
Right. I don't think I can really advise on this topic because I've never built a distribution channel in my life.
Vipul bhai would be the
Yeah, in terms of setting a new enterprise for a distribution level, actually now the world has changed, in fact. So if you are looking for an FMCG product, as Mr. Meet said, he is interested in FMCG product. So see, FMCG product, you need to understand the core mentality of the people who is buying. Unless and until you don't understand your customers, I mean, knowing your customers, what exactly is the need of an hour. You need to build a good product, first of all. And if you have a very good product, distribution channel is a sublet of the primary product. Now, coming back to the original question of a distribution, how distribution can be set up. See, distribution can be set up like if you are into the FMCG products, you can always have a contact with listed dealers of FMCGs. You can be a part of now, I mean, Amazon and Flipkart is delivering the FMCG goods. You can be part of that supply channel, which could be one of the biggest distributor as a point of your FMCG product. Also, in a distribution network, coming to old school in India, there are a couple of networks like say distributor, dealer, sub dealer, or maybe sub distributor, something like that. But coming after implementation of GST, lot of network has been scrapped. So I would say that you need to curtail who the leading distributors of your concerned products are at current level, and you can be in touch with them. You can showcase your products, and ultimately at the end of the day, when any good distributor is there, and if you have a worth product, I mean, it is very easy to penetrate in those shelves.
Wonderful. I hope Meet your question is answered.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. And we will, like, you can reach out to us. I'll mention the email ID of RMA, and you can reach out to us. And if you have any specific questions to our RMA members or the panelists, you can anytime get in touch with them. Another thing, I'll just close by the three statements, three key statements. And sorry, we could not take more questions. We are already 5 minutes beyond our schedule. I'll just wrap up with the 3 statements. First from Ripple Bhai, that believe yourself as a CEO and work as an office boy. That's the entrepreneurship in nutshell. Then again, in lines with CEO, we have one statement from Vipul Bhai. CEO does all the work that others don't want to do, and CEO buys all what companies can afford. And last, we have from Shital Bhai, that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And remember, I know nothing, even when you are Tata or starting a small startup. So that's the key takeaways today. I've also mentioned in the chat box. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Vipul, we are very glad to listen to your Jaivel story as well. We are very honored to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ripple Bhai and Shital Bhai, for your time. Over to Paresh Bhai for the formal closing remark.
Thank you, Forum. I would like to thank all the 3 speakers, and we are very much happy that all 3 of you are having connection with Rajkot. અમને એવું લાગે છે કે તમે બધા રાજકોટનું ગૌરવ છો. એમાં વિપુલભાઈ, the statement you told us કે each and every satellite after 2000 are having components which you manufacture. ખરેખર તમે તો એક રાજકોટનું ગૌરવ જ છો, અને we are very much happy. RMA is very much happy you came and as a speaker in our webinar, and all the young participants are also very much astonished and very much they are happy to be present in this webinar. And one thing we found from all the of you, you have a lot of things to learn after failure. એકવાર failure આવે એટલે આપણે નાસીપાસ થઈને બેસી જાય એનો કઈ meaning નથી. There is always success after failure. And Vipul bhai, we are very much happy that you have chosen Ratan Tata as your icon. You know why? Let me tell you. Okay, I have served in Tata Chemicals for more than 25 years. And
Right.
Mr. Dinesh Kakkad is also on live on this webinar. He has also served in Tata Chemicals along with me. So both of us have served in Tata Chemicals for more than 25 years. So
Right.
we are very much happy that Vipul bhai, you are considering Ratan Tata as your icon. And Vipul bhai, we are very much thankful that you invited all of us at your factory, at your industry. He showed us each and every report to the entire team. We had a very much beautiful lunch over there, and our executive committee meeting was also there. So Vipul bhai, we are very much thankful to you. And Shital bhai, you are online. Okay,
Yes,
Shital
I
bhai,
am.
we would also plan to visit Goverdhan Greens as soon as the COVID is over. And all the participants also, I would like to tell you that actually this webinar is a blessing for all of us, because let me tell you that forum is suffering from fever. Ajit Nathwani is also positive in COVID. And the same way, 4 or 5 persons are suffering from COVID, and they are present in this webinar. So, I mean, it is a boon for us. This webinar is boon for us. And having all the very nice speakers, once again, thank you all, and be ready for the next webinar, which is also very much extraordinary. Thank you very much, all the speakers. RM is really thankful to you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.